So, what does it really mean to be the best golfer on the planet? It's not just about winning one big tournament, not even a major. It's about something else. It's about a kind of sustained, measurable excellence that puts you in a category all by yourself. And that's the story we're going to dive into today, the story of golf's most exclusive club. Think about this. Since the official world golf ranking system started way back in 1986, only 25 players, just 25, have ever reached the absolute peak of the sport and been called world number one. That's it. It's an unbelievably small, incredibly exclusive club. But even within that tiny little club, there's one number that just stands apart from all the rest. 683. That is the insane number of weeks that one single player held that top spot. We're talking more than double anyone else in history. This isn't just a random stat. It's really the foundation for a story of pure, unfiltered dominance. Okay, so to really understand that kind of dominance, we've got to go back to the beginning. Right back to 1986, when this whole ranking thing was created, and a few absolute legends started to define what it even meant to be the best in the world. So Germany's Bernhard Langer gets the honor of being the first ever number one. But his time at the top was super brief. We're talking just 3 weeks. The throne was then pretty quickly snatched up by the amazing Spanish legend Seve Ballesteros. His creative genius just took over the golf world for 61 weeks. But even Seve's time at the top was being challenged by another guy, someone who would become the ranking's first truly dominant force. And that player was, of course, Greg Norman. The Shark held on to that number one ranking for a colossal 331 weeks. What's so incredible about that number is his consistency came even with all those famous, just gut-wrenching losses in major championships. It was really the first proof that being number one wasn't just about collecting the biggest trophies, it was about being the best, week in and week out. Norman wasn't up there all alone, though. Squeezed into his long reign was this revolving door of Hall of Famers. And each one of them grabbed their own moment in the sun. Yet Nick Faldo's methodical brilliance, Nick Price's pure ball striking, the fan favorite Freddie Couples, and of course, the Big Easy, Ernie Els. All of them legends, and all of them proving just how ridiculously hard it was to stay number one. But then, a player came along who didn't just reach number one. He completely, and I mean completely, rewrote the definition of what it meant to dominate the sport. He built an era unlike anything we'd ever seen before. Just look at this. Seriously, this isn't a chart, it's a monument. 683 weeks. That is more than Greg Norman and Dustin Johnson's reigns put together. This isn't just a case of being a little bit better. This is a level of separation the sport had never seen, and honestly, we may never see it again. And hey, if that huge number is tough to wrap your head around, try this one on for size. 281. That is the number of consecutive weeks Tiger Woods was ranked number one, from June 2005 all the way to October 2010. For over 5 straight years, there was no debate, there was no question, no one else was even in the same zip code. The gap between him and the rest of the golf world wasn't just a gap, it was a chasm. I mean, get this, at his absolute peak, it wasn't just that he was number one, he had more ranking points than the number 2 and number 3 guys combined. He was literally playing a different sport than everyone else. So, what happens after an era of just total, unprecedented stability? What happens when the king is finally knocked off his throne? Well, you get a power vacuum. The top of the mountain, which was owned by one man for so long, suddenly became this frantic, chaotic free-for-all. The contrast here is it's staggering. It's night and day. On the left, you've got one player holding down that top spot for 281 weeks in a row. And on the right, in the 4 years right after that, the number one ranking changed hands 11 times between 4 different guys. The era of the revolving door was officially open. And this is where the story gets really interesting. The guy who finally ended Tiger's historic streak, Lee Westwood, he did it without ever winning a major championship. And the same is true for Luke Donald, who in 2011 had this unbelievable year, became number one, topped the money list on 2 different continents, all of it without a major title to his name. And that kind of volatility has pretty much defined the modern era. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've had incredible players like Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and Scottie Scheffler all have their own great runs at the top. But now, that number one spot is more like a hot potato. The days of one player holding it for 5 straight years? Yeah, those seem to be long gone. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the 25 players who actually made it to the top. But what about the legends who didn't? This might just be the most surprising part of this whole story. The list of major champions who were never, not for one single week, ranked number 1 in the world. Just look at this list of names. Phil Mickelson, a 6-time major winner, never hit number 1. Payne Stewart, 3 majors, never did it. And of course, the great Tom Watson. With 8 majors, well, he played most of his prime before the ranking system even existed. It really proves a crucial point. Winning the biggest events, even 8 of them, doesn't automatically make you the number 1 player in the world. And nobody, absolutely nobody, proves that point better than Phil Mickelson. For an incredible 270 weeks of his career, he was ranked number 2 in the world, almost always looking up at just one guy, Tiger Woods. Can you imagine that? It's a mind-boggling record for being the second best player on the entire planet. So, after all of this, what does being number 1 really mean? If major winners can miss out on it, and non-major winners can get there, what is this thing actually measuring? Well, the answer is right there in the system itself. The OWGR, it's designed to reward sustained excellence over a rolling 2-year period. It's not about having one brilliant week. It's about being consistently great, week after week, all over the globe. It really measures the grind. And this really gets to the heart of the whole debate. Winning a major, that creates a moment in history, right? A memory that lasts forever. But reaching number 1, that signifies something different. It proves that for a specific period of time, you were, without any doubt, better than every single other player on Earth. So it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. In the long, long history of sports, what's the truer measure of greatness? Is it the iconic, career-defining wins, or is it the sustained week-in, week-out dominance that proves you are the absolute best of your entire generation? Well, that's a debate that's not ending anytime soon.